Well, hello there. Yes, you are seeing this right. 1 week, one video. I'm going to try every Friday to do just a little progress video, if you will. Just a way of keeping track of what I'm doing, how I'm doing during the week. We'll probably talk about my emotional state as well as my writing because I need to really get that out. On writing within the last week, this is going back to last Thursday, I finally finished rewriting Wanderer. Wanderer is let's see, I've been down here in Florida for 21 years, almost 22 years. And I wrote Wanderer when I was still living in New Jersey before I moved down here. Yeah, it was one of those stories that I would always try and get published. It was part of a novel for a while, but then I thought it's better on its own. But I couldn't get anybody to accept it. So I put it aside, came back to it time and time again. It's basically the same way I went with Brianna and the Three. But I had gone through it one last time and thought, okay, fine, this is great. It's good. I love the story. Like I've always loved the characters, and was ready to go. And then I realized something. There was a plot hole in it big enough to fly a Death Star. Yay me. Basically, the story a courier working for government security in the late 22nd century. She goes out, she's sent out on an assignment to deliver some information on the activities of a criminal cartel in another sector, and she gets captured by the bad guys. She loses her parts of her memory, and there's mayhem ensues. But the one thing that never occurred to me was that how did the bad guys know who she was? She was using an alias, and government security is not going to say, yeah, here she is. So, yeah. So I had to address that, and I did. I think I did a satisfactory job of that. So I'm going to, it's now completed, it's uploaded, the file is updated, and in about 2 months, I will be starting to edit. And I'll just go through the edit process again, and I'll in another video. I also now that that was finished, I went through and did my final edit on Stranger, which is the next book. Well, one of the two next books. Raven is still sitting there waiting to go, and so it's done. I'm happy with it. I like the way Denise, the main character, turned out, her relationship with her partner. I think my bad guy is suitably bad, and I think it's going to be. I think it's a good story. I think it's a good story. So now I have to make a cover for it, and I do make all my own covers. So there's that. And now that those two are finished, I can now get back to first draft writing, which is... I didn't know how much I missed first draft writing until I wasn't first draft writing. So here I am. Now that I'm back in getting into first drafts. There's two that I'm focusing on. One is called My Soul to Keep. And in a way, you could think of it as in part of as part of a three-part story that starts with Upon a Far Distant Shore, because it does involve the activities of some aliens that pop up in Upon a Far Distant Shore. Excuse me. And excuse me, you could think of it in a way as kind of like a combination of the movie version of Logan's Run and a movie titled Dark City, starring Jennifer Connelly and I believe Rufus Sewell. I'm not sure about him, but I know she was in it. It concerns a group of humans living in an enclosed environment, and they think their lives are just, continuing on, life of bliss, nothing to worry about. And it turns out they're actually being used in as part of an experiment, and these aliens are conducting. And excuse me. Sorry, it's a 9:45 here, and full 8 hours at work, and I'm tired. Anyway, and it concerns the efforts to save the people there, and we get to see that they are not actually people, and they've actually been abused and experimented on for several hundred years. The other project that I'm working on as of right now is the middle story, if you will, of that fast fading light. It's not, again, these three stories don't exactly lead one to the other. Like, there's nothing in the Upon a Partisan Shore that leads to the fast fading light, and nothing in the fast fading light that leads directly to My Soul to Keep, but they do kind of tangentially relate to each other. The fast fading light concerns a expedition to investigate an anomaly at the edge of a star system. And we get to see, for the first time, the Coventry complex. That Coventry is the city from My Soul to Keep. We get to see the Coventry complex, because what it looks like on the outside is a giant cube, like a Borg cube, only with a smooth hull, and there's domes, 16. No. Yes. Yeah, 16 domes on a side. You like the way I did my math there? 16 domes on a side. And it's a cube. Oh, excuse me again. So, yeah. So those are the two projects that I'm working on now. I'm about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through My Soul to Keep. So hopefully I'll be able to get that finished soon. The fast fading light, I'm actually backing up and starting again to get back into that. And it's mostly because the reason I did that was because I hadn't gotten very far into it. It's about like 4,000 words or something like that. So it's not really that much of an effort, and getting that section rewritten so I can get back into the story. And I'm also doing something a little different with the fast fading light. Oh, God, I am sorry. God, I don't mean to be yawning like this. Sorry. What I'm doing with the fast fading light is you can think of them as chapters. They're not numbered or labeled as chapters, but they are labeled as being excerpts from journal entries or from log entries. And it kind of rotates between the three main characters, Andromeda Reyes, Kendall Shakespeare, and Roberta St. John Smythe, also known as Robbie. It rotates between their points of view and just my omniscient third-person narrator. And I'm trying something here. I don't know if it'll work. I know Heinlein tried to do something similar in The Number of the Beast, where every chapter was from a different point of view, and to me, it just got confusing. And I'm trying very hard to not do that. That's why I have at the beginning of every section, this is the person's point of view that we're looking at. So hopefully that'll make things a little easier for the reader. I don't know how long it's going to end up being, as long as it takes to tell the story. As I've always said, I don't worry about word count until the end of the last edit. I don't worry about word count. It's as long as it takes to tell. So that's where I am in my writing. As I said, I do have to make a cover for Stranger, and I have absolutely no idea what I want to do with it. Yes, I know professionally made covers are better. When I can afford it, I will be more than happy to have a professional make my cover. I can't afford it. That's why I also can't have a professional edit my work, because I can't afford it, because I worked in retail. Anyway. So yeah, that's where we are in the writing. Now the other stuff. As I know I've probably mentioned somewhere along the line, I have self-diagnosed myself as having depression and probably general anxiety disorder. I'm pretty certain about the general anxiety disorder because yesterday. Okay, let me give a little background first. I work in a call center. Actually, let's go back a little bit further. I'm an introvert. Okay. I much prefer being alone. I work Monday through Fridays, generally speaking. This weekend is an exception. But I work Monday through Friday, and then comes the weekend. Now, generally speaking, on Saturday, I don't leave the apartment. So from the time I get home Friday night to Sunday morning, I don't leave the apartment. And I like it that way. And when I leave the apartment on most Sundays, that's just to go to the laundry room to do laundry. And I come right back here, and when it's finished, I don't leave the apartment again until Monday morning when I have to go to work. I like it that way. I am an introvert. I prefer being alone. And that's just the way it is. So, I spent 27 years working in retail, and the last 8.5, almost 9 years, working in call centers. The call centers can be easier because you don't have the person right there in front of you. You're sitting down, you're working on a... But that's where the anxiety kicks in. And you start second-guessing everything you do. And then no matter how hard you try, you're still making mistakes. So you end up feeling your stress level go up. And then you end up with the really unenviable position of feeling both depressed and anxious at the same time. That's where I was on Wednesday. Believe me, when I walked out of work on Wednesday, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to find a corner and hide in it. So I got home and I ate and I tried to relax, and Thursday morning, I've been going in early to pick up some overtime. And I got dressed and I started to walk out to my car. I didn't even make it halfway to my car and just about had an anxiety attack. I turned around, walked right back into the apartment, closed the door, and didn't leave until this morning. So that's and Monday I couldn't make it to work. So that's why I have to now work this whole weekend. Yeah, it ends up being about 8 days straight. Yeah, 8 days straight. I don't mind. Yes, I counted on my fingers. So what? So, and I think that's one of the things that led me to writing. I don't make friends easily. I don't open up to people because of various things. Just being a shy, socially inept, fat kid. Yeah, I was the one that was bullied my whole life when I was, through school. It didn't stop until I was in college. And yeah, so kind of destroyed my self-image. And I have trouble making friends because I don't open up to people very easily. And I just found it necessary to pull back and not say anything. I will sit there and I will very quietly just observe, which in a way is good for a writer. I'm listening to how people talk in various situations. How are people talking? How are people acting? What are their postures like? It just helps with the characters. A lot of people don't understand this. And I just, I don't care. I'm sorry, that's how I am. Deal with it. Or not. Like I said, I don't care. So I started writing at first because, didn't have a lot of friends, and so I created them. And now it's to the point where I have an entire universe in my head. And it sounds sometimes like I'm in a crowded room even when I'm alone. Like I'm here alone in the apartment except for my cat, wherever she's hiding right now. And I can hear their voices. Hang on, excuse me. Don't know if that's going to come up, but I just had a pop up on my screen that said an app had stopped working, which is okay because I wasn't even using it. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, me and my depression. So yeah, it's it's something I deal with, and about half the time it's not a problem. Like today was pretty good, even though I was taking calls. Today was pretty good. Tomorrow I'm not going to be taking calls all day, and so that'll be good also. But Sunday I will be taking calls, and probably again on Monday. But we'll deal with that one day at a time. So yeah, that's where we are. And like I said, I just wanted to make a quick little, relatively short, although we are coming up on, we're about coming up on 19 minutes. Probably end this around 20. And that's about where we are, guys. Thank you for watching. If you are interested in any of the books, they are all available on as ebooks and print on demand. Links will be below to the website. I do ask that if you do buy a book, please leave a review, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't care. And remember, we are each of us the heroes of our own stories and the villains of someone else's. See you next week, guys. Bye.